Hello and welcome to All Things Foster, a place for coffee, connection, and community. Guys, we've got a great guest that I'm excited to talk to today, and we'll get to Jeffrey here in just a second. But before we do, this episode is brought to you by Goosehead Insurance. Allison Link is your trusted partner in protecting what matters most. Whether you're buying a home, insuring a car, or safeguarding your family's future, Allison and her team make insurance simple and personal. They work with dozens of A-rated companies to find coverage tailored to your needs, quickly and competitively. Because peace of mind should never be complicated. Visit Allison and her team in Amarillo or go to goosehead.com to get a quote today and see how easy good coverage can be. And guys, I say this most every week, but Allison is a friend and a great agent. She actually handles our insurance, and so if you need insurance, check her out. She's very responsive, very fast to get quotes back and things like that. So if you need her, check out Goosehead Insurance or goosehead.com. So our guest today is a gentleman named Jeffrey Batters, and Jeffrey has a powerful story to share. And so, Jeffrey, I want to say thank you for being willing to come on here and share your story. That's, there's challenging pieces to it, but there's also hope in it, right?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So we want to have some dignity and things in talking about your story. And so, it's an experience that a lot of folks have. And so, I'm grateful that you're willing to step out and kind of share your story with us. So before we kind of get into the tougher parts of things, just who are you today? What are you doing now? And what does your life look like now?
Well, right now, I've been working in hospice and nursing for 36 years. It's not a job to me, it's my passion for people. And I just got married last year.
Awesome.
I was married at 18, it didn't last very long. And then I just got married, so I'm very happy with that. And I'm just being me.
Yeah, very good. So what is it that kind of drew you to work in the hospice arena?
Well, I like working with people, and my whole philosophy in life was to get back to the generations that brought me here and to plant a positive seed in a person's heart, mind, and soul so that seed of love will continue to grow within themselves.
Yeah, I love that. That's good. You said it's not a job but a passion. What is caring for these folks at the kind of the latter stages of their life? What does that teach you just about life and about living?
Life isn't about being perfect or well educated or popular. Life is about experiences, lessons, and memories, being real and kind hearted.
Mm, I like that. Being real and kind-hearted. So, do you think that your early life kind of shaped your ability to sit with these folks as they're because if you're in hospice, your chances are you're in pain.
Definitely. The thing about it is not everybody has special gifts. I believe everybody has a special, unique gift to offer to this world in their own unique way, and I accept them for who they are. Working in hospice is a little bit different. You're taking care of someone, you don't even know them, and I always treat them as a family because I never had a family.
So let's talk about that. You were placed in foster care at birth, right?
That is correct.
Well, so and what was and then I think you said you went to 10 different foster
That
homes
is correct.
throughout that time. Wow.
Different religions and different cultures,
Mm, wow. 10 different.
different
So then
beliefs. Yeah, pardon
uh,
me.
say that again.
uh, 10 different or 10 10 foster homes, different beliefs and different
Sure.
cultures and
Yeah.
religions.
Yeah. Wow. What do you remember most about kind of bouncing all over the place? I mean, what is that like for you?
It was like a lost identity, and I didn't know myself, and my foster parents were very abusive, and they said that they loved me, but they would abuse me. So then throughout my life, I told myself, love is an illusion of the mind.
Mm,
So that's why my relationships were really bad at the time, because I thought, oh, you can love them for 1 minute and then that's it, then you move on.
right.
And that was a big struggle during my teen years,
Right.
because I was trying to find an identity, but I could never find myself. And people don't realize it's you versus you.
Mm,
Someone has to die here. The good person wants to stay, but then there's that old person that wants to stay too. Someone has to die. So
mm,
that's what it
yeah.
felt like.
Yeah. Man, so were there moments that were safe and good, or was it just constant chaos?
There's a saying that, when you go through life, that yesterday was history.
Mm,
Today's a mystery,
yeah.
and today is a gift. And I just always prayed at night, kneeled down in front of God, and always prayed and just wanted to get through this. At the age of 8, I was to the point where I wanted to take my life. I was in a two-story, excuse me, I was in a two-story farmhouse 20 miles from town, and my foster mother was a stripper, because back in those days, they didn't really look at the resume.
Right.
They just, if they would take the kid, that was it. They made money. And I'll never forget, there was a barn and there was a light, and every night they locked me up in a dark room
Mm,
at that age, and I always liked to write, and I had a lead pencil, and I wrote on a Sears Roebuck's magazine. That's all I had, the paper up there, and I was upstairs. So in the middle of the night, they would come and beat me with a belt and crazy stuff. It was crazy. But the thing is, I kept praying to God, and one day I walked over to the window, and I saw the light from the barn. Opened up the window, was going to jump out, and something told me to come back and kneel one more time and pray. I did that, and some angels wrapped their wings around me, and my whole life changed. I
mm,
see spirits. I feel patients' pain. I feel spirits. I speak in tongues. Um, I do astral projecting. But I didn't like that gift at 8 years old, so I rebelled until my teen. And then when I was in my accident, being in a car accident, going through the windshield and landed under a bridge, that's where I told God, I'll take the gift. And from there, I just went on and started helping people.
wow. What was the in all these different homes and abusive situations, what do you think was the toughest part?
Toughest part is to know what's going to happen next. You don't know what's going to happen next. It was like you didn't think about family. You had to think about yourself. If no one's going to believe in you, you got to believe in yourself. If no one's going to invest in you, you got to believe in yourself, and you always got to show up. And that's what I did.
Man, yeah, that we all need connection. I say this on the podcast so often, and we need connection and community, and so when you don't have that, just day in and day out, that is just, man, it's brutal.
This is what the world needs. First of all, you have to have courage to speak to someone.
Mm,
You have to have compassion, and from compassion, you get the connection.
mm. Yeah. Wow. What do you think this instability and growing up, what do you think that does to your like sense of worth and belonging?
First of all, when you're alone, you know your weaknesses and your strengths.
Mm,
I don't make decisions on emotions. I make decisions on my mind and the
mm,
resources I have in life. And that's how I made it. Life has always been common sense from the beginning. It will be common sense in the end. And I just used reverse psychology. Everything that was happening to me bad, I said, I'm going to change my attitude, my
mm,
direction, my motivation, and have more self confidence in myself because no one's going to save you.
yeah.
God has saved you, but no one else is going to save you. You have to save yourself.
So, there there's a quiet grief that a lot of kiddos in foster care face where they end up at 18, they've not been adopted, so they age out of foster care and they don't have anybody. What was it like to, man, wish that somebody would adopt you and then not be chosen?
I told myself that I'm gonna just go forward and don't look back. Um, and I forgave my parents and I forgave the people who hurt me. I forgave myself and I apologized for the people I hurt. And I just moved forward. It was like I had to do it. No one was gonna save me. No one really loved me. So I invest more time of the present instead of the past.
Mm,
So I had to keep moving forward
yeah.
with that present.
Mm. Just keep moving forward.
Yes.
What do you want foster parents and the community to understand about that longing to be chosen, to be adopted, to become someone's son or daughter?
You need to understand that everybody's different. God made a fingerprint and it's a different imprint of everyone else.
Mm,
And, as a foster child, you're lost. And we're trying to find our identity. They need to make sure that they find their identity too, because the only reason why I was brought on this earth was to inspire, encourage, empower, enlighten people's souls and break that curse of my generations.
mm,
And that's basically the reason why I'm here. I
yeah.
know I was. Because when you're abandoned like that, those are the goats. People like that are the goats. When the family doesn't want you or anything, they don't come look for you. You're the goat. You're the one that can handle. I took adversity, applied it with action, responsibility, and then I took accountability of the actions and decisions I made in my life. That's how I made it.
Wow. Wow. Mm. Yeah. Taking responsibility and moving forward, choosing choosing to put the past behind you and look forward and take responsibility and choice for your life and not being the victim and saying I can't do this, nobody wanted me, I don't care, it's all everybody else's fault. And not that there isn't, because there is blame, right? I mean, there are consequences and things like that, but in and of ourselves, we have to say, okay, I'm going to find healing, and I'm going to move forward, and I'm going to get better, and I'm going to overcome. You know.
I learned this that if you're going to play victim, you're enslaving bad habits.
Mm.
You need to have king's habits.
Oh, I like that.
I took myself as a will say as a follower with no identity or direction in my life. I wanted to be accepted back when I was a teen. And I told myself, use reverse psychology and do the opposite.
Mm.
Become a leader of your habits instead of being enslaved as a victim.
Mm.
And that's how I've done it, because I look back, and with that, everybody has a blueprint when you first start out. Your legacy begins when you're first born.
Mm.
That's when this whole legacy starts. And I've always learned that, you are the author and you have the ink to write the story,
Mm.
and no one's going to wait on you. You're living it. But the thing is, you have to have courage to tell a story.
Yeah.
You have to have courage to live that story, and you have to have courage to be a survivor in that story.
Right. Yeah. So you said by 16 you were using drugs and alcohol. Looking back, what do you think you were trying to do? I mean, were you just trying to be numb and just not feel? What was that like?
At 16, I was a follower. No direction, no motivation, didn't care about anybody. It was like a movie. I was in a movie. I didn't have to worry about my reputation. I just started when I would do drugs and alcohol, it's like I'm invisible.
Mm.
I'm in this movie and no one's bothering me, and I'm enjoying it. The higher I got, the more excited this movie was.
Mm.
And then after that car accident, it was reality. It was a different. That was not God's plan for the movie. It was God's plan for the journey
Mm.
of driving me through life. But it was a movie. I didn't care about anybody. I didn't care if a person was dying. I didn't care. I only cared about myself, because that's all I had. That's
Mm.
it. See, the thing is, we worry about other people when you have a GPS inside you, that you need to worry about yourself and keep yourself in check.
Mm.
And I didn't worry about anybody else. I just worried about myself. When am I going to get high again? When am I going to keep drinking? I didn't have anybody. I was playing victim. And when you play victim, people might feel sorry for you, or, and it's like, oh, they care a little bit. I'm just going to keep playing this. And pretty soon after the accident, reality hit me. And that's it. That's where I had to use reverse psychology and do the opposite, because my friends were ODing and they were dying.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
So talk about that accident. You were you driving?
No, my friend was driving, and we were on a dirt road. We flew over the railroad tracks. There was a pig turn bridge, and we hit a telephone pole, busted off, and I went to the windshield and landed under some marijuana ditchweed, and messed up my shoulder a little bit. My body's like this a little bit, but yeah. And then I have my leg is burned on one side. But that God did not do that. He did not do that. I did it to myself. I did it to myself. People know from right and wrong. And, you know, I pushed the limit, and, and then I told myself I never did. I never did. After that, in the accident, I never drank or smoked drugs ever again. I just went off with my life.
Wow. So that was a major turning point for sure. It's kind of a wake up call.
Yes. And you know what's sad? Some people never wake up. They're still doing the same stuff, and they're asking. It's kind of like you're planting something that is not going to sprout out. It's all negative energy
Mm.
when you're in that state of mind,
Yeah.
because you're not thinking correctly. And I wanted to be part of society instead of taken away from society.
Right.
So that's why I changed my direction.
Wow. Love that. You said at one point, take the cards that were dealt to me, be a man, and don't look back. What does that mean to you? What is that in your?
Everybody has a story, and everybody's story could be someone else's survival guide. I didn't have time to feel sorry for myself. I needed to get with the program and keep moving forward. Here, you can live. You have a choice. There was a choice. I thought to myself, you can live in courage or you can live in fear. If you
Mm,
live in fear, you might as well walk away, go back to the past. The past is the ashes, the shadows and ashes of your past, and the blessings are the presence of your success. So I told myself, I need to build a new blueprint. I need to have self confidence, self control, self motivation, and self respect for myself.
mm,
And it made me who I am today. I had to, everybody, when you start out, you have a blueprint, but then you want to build something. You keep there. We have so many blueprints and until we die,
mm.
because, we're building this, you're building your podcast. Yeah. So I just had to have a different identity of who I was, because it wasn't working anymore.
Yeah,
It didn't do me any good. I just said to move on, and I did.
yeah,
You have to forgive. If you don't forgive, you can't release the pain. So I write a lot. I'm going to be writing a book, but anyway, it's called Shadows of the Past: A New Journey and Triumph in Life. When I write, it takes the pain out and brings the love in. So
mm,
that's that's what I do. I write. It's just better to get it out to bring good things in.
sure, yeah. Everybody's process is different as far as finding forgiveness, but finding forgiveness is,
Mhm.
I mean, it's crucial. And I know in my life, I'm trying to work through, my experience is similar but different. I was in foster care and then I was adopted, and it was an abusive home, and trying to find forgiveness in myself for the things that happened to me. And so, for you, it's writing, and for someone else, it might be writing music or, whatever it is. But the reality is we have to find the way to forgiveness, or you can't move on. You
I
can't.
did it. I
Yeah,
had to,
yeah,
because stress is cancer, and
yeah.
if you're not forgiving, there's still going to be stress in your heart. So
Mm,
I just moved on. I mean, I told myself there's a reason for all this, and we'll figure it out down the road.
yeah.
That was my attitude. It was like,
Mm, love that. What did you know? What did forgiveness not mean for you? What was that not?
if I didn't forgive, I couldn't heal myself. I couldn't
Mm,
move forward.
yeah, mm,
I had to have courage.
yeah,
And if you don't have courage, you're not going to move anywhere.
yeah.
The hardest prison to escape from is your own mind. And if you can't escape that, you ain't going nowhere. So I just wanted to, I mean, if I didn't forgive, I wouldn't be talking with you right now. I guarantee you, because
Sure.
I would still be the victim playing that same game
Yeah.
of my own problems.
Mm. So was it a was it a process? Was it a just a one time, like, okay, I forgive them, move on? What did that look? I know you said
It
you
took a
wrote.
while.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it took a while, because I kept thinking, "Oh my, this is crazy. I can't believe that I'm doing all this. Why?" And I'm thinking, "Well, what did they do?"
Mm,
And I had to look back. I had to look back, and I thought about this. I thought, "Okay, they did this to me, but what did their parents do to them? And
sure.
what their grandparents did to them and their grandparents did to their parents gave to, it was just a one thing. I kept looking at that, and I was thinking, there's a reason for this,
Mm,
but I don't have time to waste, because, you know, I'm a type of person that just don't waste time. I get right down to business, and that's what I did. I
Mm,
just said, but it took me a while. I kept thinking, I can't blame them because I don't know. Maybe there's something that happened to them.
yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. There is a, there's a generational cycle, and breaking that cycle is so hard. But you can't break the cycle until you've forgiven and move on.
and that's what I did.
Yeah.
But it took me a while.
Right.
I kept struggling, and I just came to the point where, you know what? What's it gonna hurt?
Yeah.
I'm gonna try it, and then my whole life changed.
Yeah. Because forgiveness is not for the other person; it's for yourself. All right. I mean, they're moving on, they're doing their own thing, they're living their own life, and so, it, you not forgiving them most of the time doesn't affect them. You know.
Yeah, well, I didn't even know anything about them, so
Mm,
I shouldn't judge them. I know it's like, well, it happened, and I just moved on. I'm not gonna play victim of something that, you know, I didn't create.
mm,
I'm just gonna move on.
yeah. Hmm. So, did religion and spirituality play a role in your healing journey?
Definitely. I remember being, Catholic, and I went to catechism, and that was different. I had to get up in the box and then confess my sins in front of as a kid, I didn't even understand anything what was going
Right.
on there, and then I was a Lutheran, and then I was a Methodist, and, I was a Episcopalical, and that was, after, um, how I became that is, uh, I was gonna be getting locked up. When I was 16, I was gonna get locked up in a reformatory or jail,
Mm,
and because I got in a lot of trouble.
yeah.
And, I have a bullet in my arm. I just and I got a gash in my leg about like that where I got stabbed and then I got burned. But, um, I just was in a lot of trouble, and they said, "Well, you're going to a reformatory or we're gonna send you to a military academy." I went there, like, it was my freshman year, I went there till I graduated, but it was a military academy, a boarding school for boys.
Mm,
And these were rich kids. These were like
hmm.
20,000 a year to go there. That was the best gift that the state could ever give me
Wow.
because I learned discipline real quick.
Right. Yeah.
And the thing is, when you learn discipline, then you have the determination you want to better yourself, and then you stay dedicated to it.
Mm,
And
yeah.
that's what I did.
Yeah.
That's what I did. And it made me a better person because I thought I was the toughest. No, it didn't work that way.
Yeah.
Someone's tougher, smarter, and stronger than you. I learned that real quick after getting knocked out.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget that. This Peruvian officer, he said, drop and give me push ups. I said, you ain't going to tell me to do anything. And after that, he said, I didn't mean to do what I did at kicking you in the stomach, but you know what? You need to learn discipline. And I'm willing to be your mentor. He was older than I was. He was a senior and he was a commander. He said, I'm willing to be your mentor. And that's he taught me a lot and then graduated and moved on.
So, um, you said that your different experiences in all these different religion, these different denominations and stuff. How did that kind of shape your idea of faith?
Well, you don't go by sight, you go by faith. And as a child, 8 years old, I kind of already knew who God was and I stayed with him. And even though there's times that I would detour and all that, but I still stayed with because he was walking with me. And I never lost faith in God. I never did. There was, like I said, at 8 years old, I was always kneeling down at night praying. And what I want to say is, all these different religions built me a foundation. And I realize now, after I'm older now, that all of these religions I went through in different cultures that's what hospice is. That's the foundation. Because I deal with not deal, but I take care of all different generations, cultures, and religions.
Yeah.
And I can't judge people, their religion, their culture, you know, not
Yeah.
not in a hospice you don't. You
Yeah.
just you respect it, give them dignity and respect. So that really kept me going of me being the person who I am today. And I realized that God built that foundation for me.
Mm. Yeah. Mm. So, how did you? What was the shift when you went from kind of surviving to choosing to serve?
Well, like I said, I thought love was an illusion of the mind. So I started to be more open. And I said, use reverse psychology. It's not working the other way. Try it a different way. So I was more open to people because I was on my own most of my life. 40 some years. That's a long time. Ran my own show, did my own thing. Um, and when I was more open, I was more accepted. And when I was more accepted, I was more loved and cared for and respected.
Yeah.
That's very important.
Sure. So, hospice work has got to be very, very relational, right? You're, do you, you're helping, the family, you're helping the individual, and, you've got to have that relationship. Do you see it kind of as a way of giving back? Is that kind of the
Yes,
mindset?
I want to say that was my family.
Yeah.
Those are my family members. The people that I went through life with, they respected me and I gave them the dignity and respect they deserve.
Yeah.
That's why I'm in hospice because every person that comes into my life, I treat them like a family member
Mm,
because I never had a family.
sure.
Yeah.
Wow. Mm. You said your kind of philosophy is to inspire, encourage, empower, and enlighten souls. What? How do you live that out day to day?
Doesn't cost anything to be kind.
Mm,
I always try to show some kind of gratitude to this world. One time I slept on a park bench and I thought, oh my God, am I gonna be like this all the time? That's when
mm,
I was 16.
yeah.
People have problems all the time. There's so many problems that people have right now that not everybody's gonna wake up the next morning. And I said, if I could just plant a positive seed in that person's heart, mind, and soul, and let that seed of love to continue to grow within themselves, then my mission's complete.
Yeah.
And that's what I've always done.
So awesome. So do you do you have a family now? I know you said you got married last
Yes, I
year.
do.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. Kids.
Her children, very nice, very nice. And they accept me for who I am, and I accept them for who they are. I'm not the type of person that's going to tell someone what to do.
Yeah.
I have enough to keep myself in check, you know,
Yeah.
and they're just, but yes, finally, after 40 some years, that's crazy.
That's amazing. So what does family mean to you today? I mean, I know you said that, your patients and their families are family, and then you've got your own family. But what is family for you? Like, how do you define family?
Where I know that I can be myself.
Mm,
I feel loved, feel respected, and I can be more open to people. Because being on your own, you really don't open up. You just run your own show. You do your own thing. And with family, today, my family, they give me all those traits. They understand me. They don't judge me because of my past. They accept me for who I am at the present.
Right.
And that means a lot
Sure.
because I don't want validation or glorification. I told them I just want to be accepted,
Yeah.
and they accept me for who I am.
Mm. Mm. Yeah. Acceptance is just so important. What do you so talk to a young person that's in foster care right now? What do you tell them if they feel, they're feeling unwanted, they're feeling forgotten?
First of all, and I've said this before, there's a GPS inside of you. Get to know that person first. Don't worry about anybody else. Worry about that person first, but apply it with discipline, determination, and dedication. Always invest in yourself if no one wants to invest in you. Always love yourself if no one wants to love you. And always show up. Even when someone knocks you down, show up and keep moving forward.
Yeah.
Don't stand there at the storm and wait for someone to hold your hand to walk through it. Go through it, and you're going to get there a lot faster. Because the thing is, people don't realize there's boulders or there's obstacles in life. You can go around it, it's easy, but if you go through it, you're going to learn that information to go through the next obstacle. Just remember, believe in yourself, and people will start believing in you.
Man. Believe in yourself. So, you know, there are foster families out there, foster parents out there, and my experience has been, it's different today than when it was back when you and I were in care.
Yeah.
They're much more discerning about who they license and things like that. Not that every foster parent out there that's licensed is perfect and great and everything else. There's always, in whatever you're doing, there's always going to be some bad apples. By and large, I feel like the foster parents that we interact with on a consistent basis are solid folks that really care about the kiddos that are in their care. A lot of them probably haven't been in care themselves. So what do you talk to that foster parent that's out there that didn't live it? They don't have that lived experience, but they want to do the best and serve these kiddos the best that they can. Talk to them. What do you tell them?
I'm going to tell you something. Believe what the child says.
Mm.
The reason why, when I was in foster care, I had a social worker in the state of Kansas, and she was actually abusing me, and I was in a ring of children. And when I was 18, I called the state of Kansas. Statutory limitations was over. I called them. They said, "Yeah, you were in a ring, and yes, she did that to you, but we just moved her onto a different post."
Wow.
So they admitted it, but they just moved her onto a different post.
Mm.
I'll never forget that. And so when the child speaks, listen to him.
Yeah.
At least listen to him. And that's what the children want. They want to be listened to, loved, and cared for.
Mm. Yeah. Now, Jeffrey, it's been an honor to talk to you, and I really appreciate you being, open and sharing, the struggles, but also the victory, right? The growth and becoming the person that you are. 30, first of all, 36 years doing anything. I mean, you just don't see that very often these days, where people get into something and stick with it. I think the average adult, like right now, changes careers, not jobs, but careers every 7 years. So sticking with something for 36 years, that's pretty awesome in and of itself. But just being here and sharing, your story, and helping folks that don't have this lived experience to kind of understand a little bit, what it's like, growing up in foster care.
Yeah, I just want to say that for the people out there, it it's not an easy road, but you have the GPS to go where you want to go in life, and you just have to have a different blueprint, and and have that courage to move forward. Because when you have the courage, then you have an opportunity to discover the unknown. I've
Mm,
always told people this: understanding, knowledge, and wisdom is powerful. Transformation of character, integrity will get you the respect you deserve from society outside. So just think about that, because respect is more important
mm,
than be well educated. Also, I just want to say thank you for giving me an opportunity to be on this show.
yeah, yeah,
And not everybody's going to be a moment in your book of life.
yeah. It's true.
So thank you for your love, kindness, and respect. Thank you for being you and your generous time too. I told myself someday when I get out of this dark room with these abusive foster parents, I'm going to show the world in humble and silence of who I am, instead of the world telling me who I am because I know who I was meant to be. And I've always kept this to my heart. The best gift that you could ever give yourself is just be yourself,
Mm,
because everyone else is unique and different, and everyone else is taken.
yeah.
Thank you.
Well, Jeffrey, I do. I appreciate, just the honesty and honoring us with your story. It's a tough one, uh, but there's also hope. We talk about that a lot here on the podcast. That yes, there are hard things, but there's hope. There's hope.
You
There's
have
hope
to
for
believe in
everyone.
yourself.
Yeah,
Believe in yourself. Invest in yourself, and no one's going to save you.
yeah,
You're just going to have to do it yourself.
yeah. Right. Wow. Well, thank you again so much. Guys, thank you for tuning in this week. We've got some great podcasts that are coming. So be sure to like, subscribe, follow, share, all the things. Help us out to grow this channel. If you don't mind, down in the comments below, just drop a line of where you're listening. What city you're from, that kind of thing, something like that. And then, guys, we do placement packages for kiddos coming into foster care, and so we 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 deliver to the 26 counties of the Panhandle. That's the size of West Virginia. It takes a lot to provide these placement packages. It costs us about $430 a piece, and so we'll have a link down in the show notes. Go to our website, panhandleorphan.org/donation. Set up that monthly gift. That really helps us be able to provide more and more placement packages. Last year, we did 161. Our goal for this year is 250. But there's about 600 kids that come into care in the 26 counties. And so we got a long ways to go to get to where every kiddo gets a placement package. $100 a month buys us all the clothes we need for one placement. $50 a month is a case of diapers, and then $10 a month buys us one outfit. And so please think about that. Consider that. Again, we'll have the links down in the show notes. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thanks, Jeffrey, for coming on and
Thank you.
sharing your story. You guys have a great week. Bye.
Thank you.